Yeah, this one's for all the workers who burn night and day, got hands and my brain. To run your pay for centuries long past, for no more than your bread. Have bled for your countries and counted your days. There's no factory that builds it, the shipyards and mines. We're all. Okay, this is Two Wolves. And I am here to say to you, Happy Labor Day. Now, that was a song by the Dropkick Murphys. It's called The Workers' Song, and I was playing a little bit of it for you while showing some images from Google search, Google Images pictures of Labor Day. Well, this is, of course, my channel. If you go to my channel, Morning 616, you'll see it playing. And this particular version is by Soph Cowgirl 3. Soph Cowgirl, GURL 3, and she's added lyrics. So please go to my channel so you can watch it and listen to it, or just Google anywhere on YouTube Dropkick Murphys Workers Song. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because tomorrow is, of course, Labor Day, and it's also Labor Day. And I'm going to reference some information from Wikipedia, http://wikipedia.org, Wiki Labor Day, and then a similar article talking more from the American perspective. The reason that I want to talk really about Labor Day is because I believe that throughout the world we've lost perspective. Well, here you go. Happy Labor Day to all of you in the US and Canada and elsewhere. But there was a time when Labor Day was a matter of life and death. It meant workers toiling to save their lives, the lives of their partners, the lives of their children, miners, farmers, machinists, shop workers, laborers of every kind throughout the world. So many people, so many children used to die in the industrial era in sweatshops, eh? This is a picture taken in New York in the last century, in the late 1880s. Look at the hundreds of thousands of people who turned out to march for the common worker. And this is what Labor Day is really all about. It's nice to go fishing. It's nice to rest. It's good to rest. It's good to be with family. But in many cases, I think that Labor Day has become something more to do with patriotism and just another militarized holiday, or just a day to play, or a day for white sales. Well, that's not what it's really about. It has to do with protecting the rights of the worker. This is Wikipedia again, Labor Day. This article is about Labor Day, and we spell it in Canada OUR. It is related, of course, with the workers' holiday held on May 1st, which in the States is somewhat of anathema, but that's called International Workers' Day. It's not liked in the States very much, this day, International Workers' Day, because of, quote, communist implications. Labor Day, or Labor Day, without the U, in the USA is an annual holiday to celebrate the achievements of workers, and in Canada and many parts of the world also the rights of workers. Labor Day, especially in Canada, has its origins in the labor union movement, specifically the 8-hour day movement, which advocated 8 hours for work, 8 hours for recreation, and 8 hours for rest. I was raised by a mostly Canadian family and also very much a union family. My grandpa was quite a wobbly. He was just rabidly pro-union, and I really inherited that from him. And so that's my perspective. A little bit here on some of the ways that Labor Day is celebrated throughout the world. In Australia, good day, mates over there, our family in Australia, celebrating the Australian labour movement. The Labor Day public holiday is fixed by the various state and territory governments, and so varies considerably. It's the first Monday in October in the Australian Capital Territory, New South Wales, and South Australia. There's a little bit more. The Tassies call it 8 Hours Day. Now, chime in, family in Australia. You can share more about this. Labor Day in various forms is celebrated, for instance, in Bangladesh, in this case, May 1st. Brazil celebrates the Dia do Trabalho. I'm used to a little bit different form of Spanish. May 1st. In Canada, Labor Day has been celebrated on the first Monday in September in Canada since the 1880s. The origins of Labor Day in Canada can be traced back to December 1872, when a parade was staged in support of the Toronto Typographical Union strike for a 58-hour work week. The Toronto Trades Assembly called its 27 unions to demonstrate in support of the Typo Union, who had been on strike since March 25th. George Brown, Canadian politician and editor of the Globe, hit back at his striking employees, pressing police to charge the union with conspiracy. Does this sound a little bit like Rupert Murdoch? Although the laws criminalizing union activity were outdated and had already been abolished in Great Britain, they were still on the books in Canada, and police arrested 24 leaders of the Typo Union. Labor leaders called another demonstration on September 3. 7 unions marched in Ottawa, prompting a promise by Canadian Prime Minister Sir John A. Macdonald to repeal the barbarous anti-union laws. Of course, now today, under the Harper government, unions are under fire again, but we still have got them. Parliament passed the Trade Union Act on June 14th the following year, and soon all unions were seeking a 54-hour work week. So this is really very interesting. As in the States, while Labor Day parades and picnics are organized by unions, many Canadians regard Labor Day as the Monday of the last long weekend of summer. Even so, it's a workers' day. This is really fun. A Labor Day tradition in Atlantic Canada is the Wharf Rally in Digby, Nova Scotia. And that's just really a hoot. Look it up. It's just great. It's fun. While the rest of Canada watches the Labor Day Classic CFL event. The Labor Day Parade in Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland started in 1921 and still continues today over 90 years later. Of course, Newfies are very strong pro-union. Yay for Newfies. Okay, Cuba, India, Jamaica. Before 1961, May 24 was celebrated in Jamaica as Empire Day in honor of the birthday of Queen Victoria and her emancipation of slaves in Jamaica. So this is really fascinating. Kiwis, here you go. Very interesting. Norway, the Philippines. I can't speak Tagalog, sadly, or I'd say that. Sweden, the Middle East. Here again, mostly celebrated on the 1st of May and called Eid al-Omal, Workers' Day. Trinidad and Tobago. And in many other places. Excuse me. Of course, in the U.S., it's a federal holiday. Well, we'll go look at this. To be fair, Labor Day, without the U. Labor Day is an American federal holiday observed on the first Monday in September. Well, we know that, eh? Which celebrates the economic and social contributions of workers. This is quite interesting if you want to look at things sociologically. Even so, still in Canada, Labor Day, with a U, and you can just think of labor is for you, Labor Day is for you, the worker. The focus is a bit more, even so, thankfully, on workers' rights and the history of workers' rights. In the States, it tends to celebrate the economic and social contributions of workers. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Is it not? Okay. Here's a picture of a time when labor unions and workers' rights were at everyone's heart and at the forefront of everyone's mind. This is back in the late 1880s, Labor Day Parade, Union Square, 1882. Look at the thousands of people who turned out, because this was during the Industrial Revolution. This was a time when children died in sweatshops and men coughed their lungs out after working for the years in the mines and factories. And whole families lived in one-room walk-ups without enough food. So at that time, people really fought for their workers' rights. It's a shame that that focus has been forgotten. In 1882, Matthew McGuire, machinist, first proposed the holiday while serving as secretary of the CLU of New York. Others argue that it was first proposed by Peter Maguire, an Irishman. Up the Irish! Go Ireland! Fighting for rights, eh? He was with the AFL, and he is said to have founded Labor Day in the States after witnessing the annual Labor Festival held in Toronto. Oregon was the first state to make it a holiday in 1887. By the time it became a federal holiday in 1894, 30 states officially celebrated Labor Day. Following the deaths of a number of workers at the hands of the U.S. military and U.S. Marshals during the Pullman strike, I'm going to read that again. Look this up. Following the deaths of a number of workers at the hands of the U.S. military and U.S. Marshals during the Pullman strike, this was a railroad strike, President Grover Cleveland reconciled with Reyes, leader of the labor movement. Fearing further conflict, Congress unanimously voted to approve rush legislation that made Labor Day a national holiday. Cleveland signed it into law a mere 6 days after the end of the strike. The September date, originally chosen by the CLU of New York and observed by many of the nation's trade unions for the past several years, was selected rather than the more widespread International Workers' Day, 1 May, because Cleveland was concerned that the observance of the latter would be associated with the national communist, syndicalist, and anarchist movements that, though distinct from one another, had rallied to commemorate the Haymarket Affair. This is also notoriously horrible. In International Workers' Day. Okay, so this I've been reading about Labor Day in both these articles, http://en.wikipedia.org wiki Labor Day. In any case, I do wish you, whichever country you live in, happy Labor Day. And this is Two Wolves Out. Oh, and don't forget to go to my channel and celebrate by listening to the Dropkick Murphys, a working class group out of Boston, with the Workers' Song. It's fantastic. Okay, and so now, Two Wolves Out. Happy Labor Day.